1988 Alfa Romeo Milano Verde.
All right, we're going to take it out for a drive, see what it's like.
All right.
So, Mike, you've done a lot of stuff in this car. Start naming off a couple of things. But, I mean, you did a full restoration on this thing, right?
Yeah. So, took it down to sheet metal, redid, bodywork, shaved the engine bay, ripped out basically, all the crappy Italian stuff that didn't work right, like the fuel injection system and just the whole wiring harness, and replaced that with some more modern ones that would actually work and not be fire hazards.
Okay. And obviously, I'm not driving today. Mike insisted that he should be the driver today because gauges aren't really working at the moment and a couple other things, so that's just fine. Take a look.
So the car's not totally finished yet.
Car's not finished, but that's fine. It's a work in progress. I wanted to get it on film. I bumped into you at an Italian car show a couple of days ago, or a week ago.
Yeah.
And I just saw the condition it was in. You could obviously see the work that you put into it, and I fell in love right away. It's definitely a gorgeous car, especially under the hood.
Thanks.
So what else, go from kind of front to back, what are the main, what's under the hood first of all?
So under the hood, it's the Alfa 3-liter V6. It's a narrow 60-degree V instead of a 90-degree that you would find everywhere else.
Okay.
From the factory, it was like 185 at the crank. Right now she's doing about 225 at the rear wheels. And to help me get there, it's running SDS standalone, larger fuel injectors. The cylinder heads have been gone through, oversized valves, port and polished. It's running a set of super hot Auto Delta cams. Auto Delta was a big Alfa aftermarket
Italian,
company.
No.
I'm not 100% sure. I think they might have had a U.S. base.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's all been done. Intake manifold off a newer Alfa.
What about numbers under the motor right now?
So about 225 at the rear wheels. So it's she's quick.
What about torque?
Yeah, it's got about 200 some foot-pounds of torque. So it's,
has it ever been dynoed or not?
I have not dynoed it recently, so those numbers are off.
Estimations.
No, previous dyno I had done.
Well, that's just fine. What about, the shaved engine bay? Did you do all that?
Yeah, so
there's no way it was that clean from the factory.
No, from the factory is a rat's nest of vacuum systems and brake boosters. It had this overly complicated ABS system with a vacuum pump that never worked right, and that pump would constantly be running to make vacuum. So if that failed, you'd basically lose brakes. What kind of pump was it? Was it a hydraulic pump, or was it like an air? It's like an air pump. They used a system similar in 80s Buicks. So a replacement part comes from GM if you ever keep the ABS in this thing.
Sure. What about suspension?
Suspension is pretty unique in this car. In the front, it's a torsion bar shock setup, and I've got upgraded torsion bars from the factory. It was like a 19 or 20 millimeter bar. This has a 27 millimeter torsion bar now. So it's basically increasing the spring rate.
Okay.
The nice thing about torsion bars is they're adjustable just in how they're installed, so you don't have to buy coilovers or anything. You can just crank the bars down a notch and lower it. Coney yellows, sport shocks, all the bushings in the car have been redone with polyurethane.
Okay.
The rear suspension is a DD-on tube suspension. Since the car is a rear transmission car, or a transaxle car, it's kind of like a giant triangle that's semi-independent. So back there, welded in adjustable spring perches and some heavier duty springs that are now adjustable.
And how about exterior? How much work has been done? All the trim and stuff, you've obviously kind of had your own flair on a couple of things, like the front badge is like a gold and
so there was
the wheels.
Some chrome trim on the car that I all went gold with that, just to make it kind of fit the wheels and the rest of the car, kind of the red and gold going on.
Is this red an Alfa factory red? Or
so this is an Alfa, what is it? PPG code is 530 Alfa Romeo red.
Okay.
It cross
and you had
references.
That done, right?
Yes. So after doing the body work, a friend he did the paint for me. was an air vent.
Okay.
If you look down here, you can see all the HVAC controls are gone.
Right.
So,
so not a winter car.
no, and part of the weight savings deal with the car was like ripping everything out. So, the whole AC system went out. Right now it's got just a defrost that isn't hooked up yet, but it's a vintage air system that guys using hot rods and kind of retrofitted it to work in this car too.
Sure. Well, it rides really nice. I have to say, like, this is my first time in the car, and it's not a bumpy, choppy, rattly ride. It's like, it's pretty solid.
It's not bad.
So the interior, there's some Volkswagen in here, right? I mean, you're a fan of the Euro scene.
Exactly. Like, I started out as a Volkswagen. I had first car was an '83 diesel Jetta.
Okay.
And engine tanked in that, and then put in a gas engine. That was kind of first like car project I ever had. But
you've been involved with Euroworks and a bunch of local Euro kind of scene shows.
Yeah.
And things. Is this your first Italian car?
Yes.
Okay.
First Italian.
What drew you to the 75?
So I just wanted something weird. When I was looking, I was had the money, and I was like, I want maybe like a 70s BMW 2002, maybe E30. 911s weren't like insanely expensive yet, so I had a bunch of stuff on the table, and this car got posted in the club forums, and
it was a local car.
Local car came from South Minneapolis, and I was like, I'm just going to check this thing out and see what it is.
But all these cars were originally imported from Italy, right? These were built in Italy or not?
Yes, built in Italy, then shipped over to the States. The Verde, which is the top trim for this model, they sold like 830 something in the States over 3 years. These weren't really popular cars at the time.
Okay.
But they sold them to compete with the 3 Series. This you could say would be like the Italian M3 maybe.
Okay. Of the time, this was the Italian M3.
Yeah, it's good.
I mean, they were a sport-focused vehicle.
Yeah, sports sedan. That's the whole.
What do we got going on up here? I see some forward, backward switches.
So all the lights it's just Italian, so everything has to be a little weird. So
what are these?
Those are the windows. Those are the window switches.
Oh, these are the window
switches. Up top, yeah, and then.
And this is an air vent or what?
Dome light.
That's a light.
Adjustable dome light. Center light.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. That feels good. That's fun. That's got a great noise.
Yeah.
No, it's such a quirky looking car. I definitely wanted to get it on film and show your story a bit. Obviously, you don't see a lot of these around here, period. Let alone being fully restored and done in a way with its, your own flavor. You've got some German sort of plaid style seats in here, which are interesting, and then the gold BBS is outside, which are your own flair. I mean, at the time they had similar sort of optional wheels, didn't they?
Yeah,
wet smoke.
Well, from the factory, they all kind of had these kind of phone dial looking wheels.
That's right.
Multi-hold.
That's right.
But I was like, it's an 80s car.
Yeah.
What's more 80s than a set of RSs? So,
and this is rear-wheel drive, right?
Rear-wheel drive, yep. So with the transaxle in the back.
Okay. That was the only way they came, right?
Only way they came. Okay. This was actually the last rear-wheel drive sedan Alfa sold in the States before it went to the 164, which was front
wheel. Do you know where these were manufactured in Italy? Was it Milan or where?
I think.
Do you know where the plant was?
I think their main plant was Milan, so probably over there.
I just like tracking that history a bit, but what's this? This is where you have your full control of the whole car.
So that's the programmer for the standalone. So SDS is short for simple digital system. So it's an easy to use standalone.
So this is essentially reading out various sensors and things
Yep.
If you
So it has
OBD
a gauge setting on it, and then also it lets you control all your fuel and spark tables.
Okay.
And then say when your fan kicks on.
Right in house there in that box. You don't have to plug it into the computer.
Yeah. No laptop needed.
Okay.
It's not like a Haltech or one of the other fancy standalones. for like a reliability standpoint versus like max power.
Sure.
And just real easy to hook up. So we just use the factory ECU location, put it in there, and then kind of saved most of the harness that was in the car, and then tuck it and all that. We extended it, but yeah, it's pretty.
What about last plans? Like, what's your final plans to kind of finish this thing off?
So I got to finish hooking up the gauges and the AC system. Besides that, I have a 8-inch subwoofer I'm going to put in the back to finish up the sound system. But yeah, I got it where I like it. If anything, it would be finding another V6. Alfa's made a 24 valve version of this engine.
Right. Okay.
I dropped one of those. This is a 12 valve.
A 12.
Yeah. So I would do a 24 valve if I could find one.
All right, V6. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I definitely thank you for taking me out and showing us around. I think that everyone watching this is probably watching it because they're interested in cars like this, and I think they're going to like getting a kick out of checking this one out.
Yeah.
So awesome stuff. Thanks for taking me for a drive.
All right.
And good luck on finishing up. The Alfa Romeo Milano Verde will never be remembered as a particularly important car, nor will it be on many posters with kids dreaming about owning one someday. The Milano actually has been rather forgotten in the pages of history, despite the fact that it features a good number of sporty attributes. The zippy 3-liter motor paired with a rear-mounted 5-speed transmission actually gives the car really great balance. Many of the V6 models even came standard with limited slip differentials. Whatever your opinion of this car may be, what I like about this one is that Mike has gone for something unique. It truly is a case of one man's trash is another man's treasure. Mike saw through the chaos of some of the original wiring issues and faults to bring this little 75 into a new phase of life. A life with no ghosts in the wiring, simple engine management, and classy Euro style that never seems to age. I'm glad I got the chance to go for a spin with Mike to hear about this Milano's transformation. It reminded me that it's not about the kind of car you drive, it's about how you make it your own. Be sure to subscribe for more videos like this one. Thanks for watching.